Podcast.
Welcome back to KingWoes Court, episode 8 inbound, and we're going to have a really interesting one today. This morning I am out of the safety of the court. I am out and about, and I'm with a guy today who is, I suppose what you could say, one of the heart and souls of the Irish metal scene. The one constant I notice with a lot of my podcasts with Irish metal bands is they keep referring to Trackmix Studios. This is where they all record, and the main man in question is Mick Richards. So today I'm going to have a chat with Mick, see what makes Trackmix tick. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it did. And we'll have a chat about how he goes about things and why people are so interested in coming back, and what makes Mick different to the rest of studios that maybe people would go to. Because I'll tell you something, there is an awful lot of loyalty for Mick in the Irish metal community, and it'll be a great chat to see what happens, see what he says, see if he's any funny stories, see if he's any little hints or whatever, and if you want to record in here, maybe it'll give you an insight on how Mick does his thing. So next time you hear me, I will be in Trackmix Studios. Enjoy. Well, there you go. That was what you call it, Ruthless Bastards by zhOra. What a fucking track. I'm out of my comfort zone here in out of KingWoes Court, and Mick has quite kindly invited me into Trackmix Studios. There's the term institution is bandied about an awful lot when you think about things, but there's a couple of institutions for Irish metal that I can think of. Fibbers is one, Sound Cell is another, Dublin Metal Events, and Trackmix. Definitely, without some of those things, Irish metal would not exist, and that's I think most people would agree with me on that. And the man responsible for Trackmix has, as I said, kindly invited me into the hallowed halls today. Mick Richards, how are you?
Great, thanks for coming over, Carl.
Oh, no problem. Listen, thanks for having me over. I was thinking about doing this one for a while, and I wasn't sure. And then you quite, you said you were letting me. So thanks very much.
Should be good fun. Thanks.
So look, as I've said it before, nearly all the bands that to be on my podcast have recorded here. Mm-hmm. I think we've even stepped in here once a long time ago.
Long time ago, yes.
So, as I said, I'd love to just get a bit of background on the studio, and we'd have a little chat about it and see what you think yourself. Absolutely. Do us a favour. What got you interested in sound production and that kind of stuff?
Well, the studio's open since 1995, so a long time now. I was in bands and in studios, and I just fell more in love with the recording aspect and the playing aspect of it. Yeah. And then I was in Bolton Street. I've a qualified building services engineer.
That's wasted, is it?
Yes, it's very much so. I have a few other ones like that as well. But, qualified building services engineer, and I finished in Bolton Street, and then I went to a sound training centre back when it was all tape and Akai samplers and everything. Old school, before computers. You had to play it right or go home then. Yeah. So and then I eventually set up Trackmix with a partner, and then that was 95. Wow. And then we opened musical instrument shop.
That's right, I forgot you were in that.
In 98. And then the shop and studio were running parallel for all that time, and then 2008 my daughter was born. At that point I was working 7 days a week at least.
Jesus.
If you count nights, I was probably working 10 days a week. So at that point, 2008, I got out of the shop and concentrated on the studio, and it's great because I'm always busy and always have lots of time off, so it's perfect really.
It's great when you're your own boss, isn't it, as well?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
I think a lot of people strive for that kind of thing in life, and it's not always...
Yeah, well, it's not only I'm my own boss, I love my work. Anyone who records me will tell you that I love it. Like, it's... Yeah. Like, I always feel guilty getting paid at the end of the day. I enjoy it so much.
Well, I have to say, that's one thing I noticed, and as I said, if you ever listen to some of the previous podcasts, the bands that are in, they absolutely fucking love the bouncy.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's almost like you're an extra member of the band, like. And that's, like, you know something? It's hard to get that.
Yeah, well,
it's hard to get that.
Well, I don't like the idea of the engineer sitting at the desk and just doing the engineering thing. Like, I like to have a laugh with the bands and have fun, and like, because a long time ago, my wife said to me, I had a band coming in, and I was thinking, oh god, these fucking guys in there. It's going to be a long day. And what she said has always stuck with me. She said, yeah, for you it's a day's work, but for them it's probably the highlight of their month or their year. And they're probably looking forward to it and rehearsing. And it's like, yeah, you're dead right. It's another day in the office for me, but it's a big deal for them. And like, I've always tried to get involved and have fun and everything, but ever since she said that, it's made a big difference to me.
Absolutely.
That it's an event for the band, and I have to make it an event for them, and like make sure they fully enjoy the experience and not just sit there looking at me watch, like, which I rarely do, but sometimes, of course.
Sometimes you probably have.
I'm not going to name any names on that, of course.
But it's all positive today.
Yes.
But that's a fantastic. I mean, I can't stress enough that that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's
cool. Because you say, even the likes of us, when we're going in to do our shit, it's a big deal. It's a big fucking deal. Whether we're doing it in a studio or at home, doesn't matter.
Yes.
That's a big plus.
I'm doing this like 3 to 4 days a week, so it is another day in work. Like, but I have to. Well, I always do enjoy it, but I try and make an extra effort to make sure the band has a good day and enjoys the experience as well as getting a good product at the end of it.
Yeah, fantastic. Listen, can you remember what studio? Did you start off in another studio, or did you just start this one yourself? Or
I did the Sound Training Centre course, which would have been the old Sun studio. I should probably remember Sun up on Crow Street.
I was only in there a few months ago.
Were you? Is it still there in
yeah.
Crow Street? Yeah.
We did a little session. It'll be up next week.
Yeah.
Believe
So,
it or not.
while I was in there, being the industrious chap that I am, I did a deal with the management that got me a freelance rate in there. So I went out and found bands and brought them in.
Excellent.
So I think I was the only student who did that to that point. Like, everyone else would just go home.
Studious.
Yeah, it's like, hang on a minute, this place is like empty every night. So I sorted out a freelance rate and went to Eamon Doran's, or the Rock Garden as it was
Brilliant.
then, and gave out cards and got working. And it started like that really, and then we ended up setting up our own place from there.
And can you remember, and I know it's a long time ago now, but can you remember the very first band you ever recorded?
Whoa.
Possibly. I know I kind of threw that at you.
A couple of the early ones would be, there was a great mod band called the Josephs. Don't know if you
I've heard of the name, yeah.
They were great. They were really good.
I'm old as well, don't forget.
Yes.
I'm not saying you're old, but you know what I mean.
As well. So, the Josephs were an early one. They were a great band. They ended up getting signed and doing an album with Roland Giff from the Final Cannibals producing. It's a really good band.
Do you ever remember, I don't know, so I do this, I cut in and talk to you.
That's cool.
I remember years ago I used to work in, the Academy.
Yeah.
It used to be the HQ. Remember Irish Music Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Roland Gift played a gig there. I don't know if you ever heard this story. He played a gig there. It was a solo story, or a solo gig, and there was I think it was like 20 people in the fucking crowd.
Oh no!
So he stopped halfway through and he bought everyone a pint. I was sitting down with the crowd and then got back on with the gig.
Oh wow!
Yeah, sorry, I had that popped in.
That's gas though, isn't it? But what do you think if he'd have done a Fine Young Cannibals reunion? I'd say that would have been sold out.
Possibly.
Maybe
yeah.
he was thinking people would know his name. And
Well, I think these guys like to try and do their own thing in their own scheme as well. Like, but they're probably gone now. Fine Young Cannibals still,
maybe
with this whole revival and all that.
Like I remember a few years ago, I went to see the Psychedelic Furs.
Oh yeah,
and they were long gone at that stage. Yeah. But it just shows you all these bands. You think, where are they now? And they're slogging it out in the local clubs and stuff. A lot of them.
I think the way music's gone now, it's very hard for bands, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
You have to be like a 17-year-old young one.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying to a band the other day. It used to be that we were talking about Kiss actually.
Tell me you like Kiss.
I love Kiss.
Yes.
But Kiss in the 70s and the 80s, a Kiss tour, they made no money on it. They put on such a show and such a production that all the ticket sales went into the production of the tour as an advertisement to sell the album.
Yeah.
And it's gone full circle.
Yeah.
Now the album is an advertisement to sell tickets for the tour. So it's funny the way it's gone. Like nobody buys albums anymore. I'm guilty as well. I have Spotify Premium, which is it's better than not paying anything, I presume. But I can't remember the last time I bought or even listened to a CD. It's just Spotify all the time.
Yeah.
Unless I want to listen to Tool, then it's my iPod. Tool's the only band I listen to.
Tool,
wouldn't be on Spotify.
Are you looking forward to the new album?
Yes.
What's it gonna be like? It's gonna be like the last album and the album before that.
Yeah, well, but then again, talking about nobody selling anything, how did Tool go 12 years with no album? Like it's
didn't I don't know what the rest of the band did, but I know Maynard had Pussifier, wasn't that the name of their band?
He's also got a vineyard.
And Maynard's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Wine Gums. Maynard's Wine Gums. Sorry. That's pathetic, sorry.
Lovely. And Adam Jones has got he does graphic design and stuff, doesn't he?
He does a lot of their stuff.
Special
he
effects.
Does films, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a few big famous films as well.
They played Download just the weekend just gone. I think they were one of the headliner bands.
Yeah, is that Tool?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, they're probably one of the only bands out there who can go and do a big gig without releasing an album in 10 years. It's just so popular.
Do you know what? I went off them after Lateralus.
Yeah.
It just, to me, I know. Don't get me wrong, musicianship is fantastic. It just seems very samey.
I thought 10,000 Days was a bit of a meander without many big hits on it.
Yeah.
I don't mean hits as in like
but memorable songs.
Yeah, well, not even hits, but like impacts. Or it's like a lot of it was just like kind of we want to be Pink Floyd meets prog sort of thing.
Now here's a question for you. Would you say they spend a shitload of money producing an album?
I don't know. It depends. I know they did all the drums for the last album with Joe Baracey in a big studio in Hollywood. It would cost a lot of money, but what happens a lot nowadays, of course, is a band will go into a studio or a great live room, track the drums, and cheerio, off they go. And they do everything else at home or on their own, because there's no need to have a $1 million studio to put one mic in front of a guitar on. So
just for a name.
Yeah.
But does that still happen though, Mick? You know, would you say it still happens with the big record companies now? Would they still have big studios and?
Yeah. Well, there is demand for it. Like, if you look at any of the big American hip hop stuff, those guys will want to go into $1 million studio and set up the one mic and record the vocals.
Because it's all about image.
Yeah, bling or glam or whatever. Yeah.
How the fuck did they make it?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know.
It's fucking crazy. Listen. So, have you done anything other than kind of metal and punk in here? Have you got a wide range, or would that be your main bread and butter? Or?
To be honest with you, most bands in Ireland would be metal or punk. There's a few I do a bit of rock band stuff as well. Name me 10 pop bands who gig regularly that aren't the script. You know.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Funny. It's like the Irish scene has always been. Well, obviously in the 90s you had My Little Funhouse and all that kind of crew, the Whelan's crew as I would call them. But since that, there's very few bands around that aren't guitar, drums, bass. There's not many kind of keyboardy bands. There was never an Irish Duran Duran.
True, yeah.
It's funny, it's always guitar, live drums. It's kind of a rock based band scene in Ireland. Always was. I don't know why that is. And any of the kind of bands that would be doing any kind of pop stuff would generally be cover bands who are doing the cover.
And that's where the money is as well.
It is where the money is.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But also, funny point on that, what I found is, if I'm recording a band, and it turns out that they also, if it's a rock band, I could name a few of them, and they've also do cover gigs at the weekends in the pubs or whatever. They're always good musicians, you know?
Yeah, you have to.
And the songs are good as well, because if you're playing hits, even if it's fucking Summer '69 Bryan Adams, which is terrible. I love the Reckless album, but that song, maybe I'm just sick of it.
Yeah.
But if a band's playing that, they must suddenly at some point twig, that's why this song is so popular, or why it's a hit, because it did this, or he did this, or it's the structure, or it's the hook.
Yeah.
So playing other people's music actually makes your own music better, I think.
Yeah, and that's it. My band have always discussed about doing a set of covers.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays it's not impossible, because we're all spread all over the country. Two are up north, one is in Drogheda, you know. But like you say, it would make you a better unit.
Yeah. The downside of doing that, of course, is I've seen it many times where I see a band and they do all their own stuff and you do one cover. And they do such a kick-ass cover that everyone forgets about their own songs.
And that, and
it does happen.
That was what we used to do, Sledgehammer.
Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer.
And people still fucking say, "Oh, you don't do Sledgehammer."
Yeah, no. I love Peter Gabriel.
I saw him in the Three Arena there a few years ago.
Yeah, I know. I missed that.
That was brilliant. I wasn't expecting to be as good as do you know one of the best gigs I've ever been to? I don't know if you were at it. Was Rush.
No.
In the Three Arena. Would you been to Rush? No. I wouldn't be a fan of Rush now, but we went because all the lads were going. And Jesus, those old men can fucking play.
And what year was this now?
Jeez, it must have been about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe a little bit.
They opened that tour with a medley of all the songs.
Yeah.
It
was brilliant.
I watched that on YouTube. I was like, oh my god.
It's like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And as I say, we went out with our show, big fucking Rush fans.
Yes, yeah.
That's good. There's a lot of younger bands can't do that.
No.
Look at that.
The Geddy Lee's voice,
it's an acquired taste, isn't it?
Even if I can sit down and listen to 2 or 3 songs, wow, that's fucking awesome. And then it's once it gets to the 4th or 5th song, it's oh, Geddy, give it. His voice just goes through me. But then again, it's worth putting up with his. No, some people think I'm terrible now. No, they're great, but it's just he has such a distinctive voice. He does. In the higher register that it gets a bit for me. But anyway, Rush, great musician.
He's an amazing bass player, isn't he?
The funny thing about Rush is Geddy Lee's bass, he always goes direct.
Yeah.
So at one point he figured, why have I got these amps on stage? So he's got washing machines and vending machines. That's right. It's brilliant. I love that.
That's really, but it's great to see that. I love watching those, the rig rundowns.
Yeah.
Great. And you see, because I was watching one the other day of Guns N' Roses actually, from the last tour.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff.
Yeah.
In the back, you don't see it in the front.
Yes, yeah.
In the background.
Yeah.
all these, like, and you'd obviously know what they're talking about. I haven't a fucking clue. But, like, I'm like, what's this and that's and that and that and that? I'm like, what the hell?
There was a great one with AC/DC, actually, from one of the tours a few years ago. I think we've been the Black Ice tour. One of those rig rundowns, and they're backstage, and the guys there. Yeah, and there's Angus's amps, and there's Malcolm's amps, and they go to 12 cabinets on stage. And that was it. That was the whole rig.
Jesus.
No pedals or fucking nothing, like just...
But, like, it just goes to show when you're at that level, you don't... You know. But I was amazed that... I know we're kind of going off talking about Trackmix here a bit, sorry, but...
Oh, no,
just chatting.
Yes, yeah.
I was amazed at the amount of people that are... Say, like, they were showing Slash's rig. And he had, like, 2 or 3 different people for this guitar and that guitar and this module thing. Yeah. Like I say, I was just fascinated by it.
Yeah. Or there was a good thing as well years ago, the U2 Zoo TV thing, that tour, the big tour. They had a program about it on RTE, and they got like this under the backstage was actually under the stage. It was like a whole control centre underneath the stage rather than it being a behind the stage, backstage type thing. But they're looking in here, and it's during the gig, and there's this guy with a guitar and all the pedals, and he's fucking rocking out. He's obviously playing, you know. And the guy's like, oh, that's so great, tuning one of the edges guitar. He's like the extra player, like behind the stage, like who's playing. Like, don't Metallica do that? I've heard Metallica do that.
Oh, don't say that. People have only seen Metallica. Don't say that.
I've heard that they've got a guy. It's the same guy who stood in when Hetfield got injured by the pyrotechnics.
See, one of their roadies, or guitar tech.
But apparently when Hetfield had his injury and couldn't play, this guy stepped out from behind the curtain onto the stage and played what he was doing before.
Right.
Apparently he's an extra layer of rhythm guitar backstage. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true.
That's a bit of a fucking rip-off, isn't it?
Why is there a rip-off? Like,
well,
it's a backing track. Like,
well, that's a rip-off as well now. But
well, that certainly is, yeah. But for having an extra guitar player to fill the sound or let Hetfield concentrate on vocals, or I don't know.
But then give the guy the...
This might not be true, actually, by the way.
Well, anyone wants to look into that and let us know, and you can give it to Mick about that. Listen, let's come back to the studio, because that's where we're here.
Early bands. Medicine Man was another one.
Who were they now? What were they like?
They were basically kind of a rock band with a guy called George singing, who I'm sure George wouldn't mind me saying this if he hears it. He thought he was George Morrison. Like,
all right.
Yeah, Jim Morrison.
Jim
Morrison, yes. So they were one of the first bands I recorded. Those guys went on without the singer George to become Primed. Remember
Primed? Yeah. I'm trying to remember who was in that now.
That was Leon.
Leon,
and, Derek Reed on vocals and John Paul on guitar. And
Jesus, they were good.
Yeah, they were very good. Yeah, they were one of Ireland's first kind of prog metal bands.
Yeah.
Like, they were one of the early ones who like didn't play it in 4/4 like they were. They were. But anyway, yeah, Medicine Man. They were really good actually. They were very, very good. But they actually made it to the final of the RTE Big Box competition.
Big Box.
Remember that back when
I remember the name,
Vulture and everything. But they had this band competition, and then it was a live studio kind of. All the bands played in the studio.
Showdown.
It was kind of an early version of X Factor, way before any of that. Like, so they picked these bands, and then they had this final, and there was a phone and everything. Yeah, but the guys were great. Like, and
deadly.
That was in my first year of opening. So to get somebody onto the final of the national team, that was great, and it was great for business as well.
Brilliant.
Because they brought a lot of work into me through that, and then I did the Revs.
I remember the Revs.
The Revs were very, very good. They were from Donegal, and they were saying that there's no pure pop band. They actually were like they were sort of very heavily influenced by the Police.
And they did well for a bit.
They did very well. They supported Stereophonics and Slain.
Jesus.
And the album we did got to number 2 in the national chart. When that actually meant something.
Yeah.
Like, that meant you sold records.
Big time,
like
yeah.
Number 1 the iTunes chart for a day means like 12 people.
Yeah.
Your album that day. Like,
some bands like that though.
Yeah, I know, that's good. Like, but it doesn't mean what it used to mean.
No.
Like number 1 then was probably 100,000 records.
Yeah.
Like, so whereas
absolutely.
now you maybe 150 would get your number 1.
Yeah.
Like, it's
downloads.
all different. Yes.
That's fantastic to have that on your kind of resume, I suppose you could say.
And they played last year. I think they got back together. And the singer Rory runs a bar in Lanzarote or something now.
Oh, right.
He went out when the band broke up. He went over and did the one man with his guitar pub scene, and ended up saying that there's a bar for lease or something. Took it on, so he's doing well.
Deadly.
Good guy, Rory. He's a really nice guy. So best of luck to him.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good. That's fucking cool. Like.
Yeah, they were good guys. Yeah. And then metal. Well, what came next was the whole Oasis thing.
Oh god, yeah.
Which was obviously massive, so every band wanted to be Oasis.
Had you got some of those type of bands?
All of those bands. Because back at the, we're talking the 90s here now. Computer was for doing letters on. You know, you couldn't, like, the home recording thing was not a thing then. It was like we had a 24-track reel-to-reel tape machine here.
Oh, deadly.
Which is the only way you could record a band back
then.
So obviously nobody had a 24-track reel-to-reel in the bedroom. So
yeah,
if you were in a band and wanted to record, you went to a studio, simple as that. Like, it's so all these Oasis type bands got all of them, and then after that it was Blink 182 and Green Day.
God.
And there was loads of them, which was hard because you'd have all these drummers with, I'm not going to say no talent, but not enough talent, trying to play like Travis Barker, who's an amazing drummer, obviously.
Great drummer, yeah.
So you get all these young guys trying to do these amazing fills and stuff, and coming in at like bar beat 2 and a bit after the one count, after the rolls, and the whole band waiting for the down bit. So but no, there was lots of bands around then who were very good. You had Mixed Twitch, who were excellent.
Mixed Twitch, Jesus.
Yeah. They were great guys.
Great names.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Did a couple of albums with them, and they were great. They did the Vans tour at one stage.
Wow.
Yeah, they were brilliant band, really brilliant.
See, we forget that some Irish bands have done some really good shit over the years. Like, it's never, like, all the bands that went before, like, I know I'm one of the older guys in the metal scene now.
Yeah.
The bands that are around my time, just before me, they've done well, and it's fucking great to hear all this and to hear they've done so well, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the younger bands today don't even think of that.
Yeah, well, geez, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this now, they might look up a few of these.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah, and it's great. It's great to have a wealth of knowledge, because like that, I wouldn't remember some of the names. Like, you know what I mean? So it's fantastic to.
Yeah, Mixed Twitch were great, and then there was On Off as well, who were kind of a jokey punk band, but they've actually, their singer left. He's doing graphic design now, I think, Paul, and the rest of them went off to America, and they're still over there gigging, and they're doing very well.
And they're still called On Off?
Yeah. Look them up. They're probably playing in Viper rooms tonight to 500 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still going.
Hey, that's great. That's fantastic.
They're good guys as well.
And what you call it? So you got right up to the metal then, and
and metal I kind of fell into. I was in college with Jerry from Melmora.
Good old Jerry.
Jerry was in the same class as me in Bolton Street doing he's still working at that now. But, he went to.
He took a chance.
Yeah, he is what we did was building services in engineering, which was all heat and water supply and everything. But we're a lot of guys who did that now. I've gone into environmental control. Okay. Which is a big deal with all the computer factories and server farms and everything. So, like, there'd be people like we would have been in college who'd be working in Intel, controlling the environment of the processing areas. Wow. So that's what Jerry ended up doing. But Jerry came to me to do a recording with Male Mortar, which was, I don't know what sequence of their albums it was, but I did an album with them, and then sounded good, and then all of a sudden all these metal bands started flocking into me.
That's the way it works, isn't it?
Yeah. And so thanks, Jerry.
Yeah, Male Mortar were class, weren't they?
Yes, yeah.
I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't be not into kind of Celtic folk metal or whatever. Yeah, really. I appreciate it for what it is, but they have some great fucking songs. Yeah,
but they're now evolved. Rob the singer left, and they've gone on and become Death the Leveler.
Who you had in?
Yes, I've just finished doing most of it.
How did that go?
They're great.
Are they the same kind of style, or are they more doomy? Or
no, much more doomy. Yeah,
okay.
Much more. And they've got Dennis Dowling, who used to be in Cursed Earth back in the day.
Oh yeah, Cursed Earth.
Singing, and he's a great singer. Very kind of confident, I would say. You wouldn't
without being cocky.
Yes, you won't get many singers who will go for the big note, you know. And sure, fuck it, why not?
You have to.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm always, because like I always do shit vocally. I'm like, can I replicate it live? Yeah. I like to be able to replicate what I'm doing live. Yeah. And if I can do it, then I'll fucking do it. But then there's also a note maybe that I want to do.
Yeah.
and I'll still fucking give it a go anyway.
Yeah.
Like I released a little side project called Withered Fist there, and with one of the guitarists that was in this band, and it's just the two of us, 3 tracks.
Yeah.
He did all the instruments and I just did the vocals. But there's a deadly three vocal harmony starting off one of the songs. I'm like, we'll never be able to do that live. But fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
It sounds great, like, you know.
Yeah, but the Dennis will always go for the big note, and it works. Like if you have to go for it. If you miss it, just do it again.
Yeah.
Like obviously I did that live, but in the studio. But if you're conscious that I might not hit this, you can totally hear that. The listener can hear it.
Yeah.
So you have to fucking push it as if you
And
with every confidence that you're gonna hit it. And Dennis does that on every song, and it does come across.
deadly.
But it's funny because those guys, Death the Leveler, when Rob left Male Mortar, they came in and did basically a whole album with no singer.
Okay.
So they arranged the whole thing with vocals in mind. And luckily it worked, because when Dennis came in, he wrote the vocals, wrote the lyrics and everything.
Around the music.
And he sat it onto what was there, and it totally worked. Like it
Deadly.
was. That's Jerry, the rest of the band as well. That's their skill in knowing how to arrange and everything.
Yeah.
That they, like, you might think that if you've no singer, that riff's going on too long. But they were thinking, no, it's not, because this.
They
is
were
the-
thinking
yeah.
with a vocal
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
in mind.
yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah, and then we've just demoed some new tracks there recently. And very
Sounding good?
Yeah.
Have you noticed the trend of more doom stuff these days? Or what would you notice just kind of propping up more?
I don't see that much doom stuff around, to be honest.
No?
You've got the Death to Level guys, obviously, and then just finished an album with Cormona,
Cool.
which took 4 years. It didn't take 4 years all in one go.
Right.
It was over 4 years. Yeah, they sort of they did the drums, and then remember doing the drums. They showed up in a camper van from Cork and had the camper van in the driveway.
No way.
And slept in the van. Yeah. And then they get called 2 years later. Yeah, we want to come in and do bass. Okay. Yeah, so,
And you kept the stuff.
yeah, I keep everything.
Fair play.
I've about 20 drives backed up, so I've stuff going back to well, when I started using the Mac, which would be what, 2002, 3, 4, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I have everything from then.
Fair play.
Tape machine's gone, obviously.
Do you miss it?
No, don't miss it at all.
That's another thing I was going to ask you. Do you prefer the way things are now, digitally, compared to the old way?
Digital tape, when you go to tape, it comes off tape sounding different. And some people say better, but to get the type of tape machine that would be like, oh wow, that's awesome, you're looking at like a Studer or something, which would have cost like 20-30 grand back in the day.
Yeah.
So obviously I didn't have one of those. But the tape machine I had was decent, like, but since I've gone digital, it's better, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you've got digital, what goes in comes out. So I have to make sure what's going in is good, like, so
Yeah.
that's where your front end really counts,
Yeah.
which would be like microphone preamps. So this is getting quite technical here now.
Good.
but-
This is what people want.
Is it what people want? Do you want
I'm
to-
sure.
I think there's some people. I don't think there's many sound engineer nerds listening to this later. I don't know. So basically, if you put a mic on a guitar amp and record it into your software on the computer, it can sound very flat and dry and uninspiring, let's say. Whereas if you're going through a Nave style preamp or an API style preamp, what goes in, it comes out the other side bigger and larger and more interesting, and it's a huge difference, really. So like microphone preamps I've heavily invested in, and they make like I said, they make a massive difference to the quality of your digital recording.
Yeah.
So if someone like mics up a guitar amp and uses like a Focusrite interface, I'll murder that sound. Like I no comparison to what I can get with like an Aurora Audio Nave style preamp. It's a huge difference.
And so you would have probably limitless amounts of options for recording nowadays.
Yeah.
You have the software at your disposal.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, for the metal guys, if it's a modern metal sound, you want either a PV5150 or a Mesa triple rectifier into a Mesa cab or an SM57, and
You love your Mesa, don't you?
yeah, but honestly,
Just something.
like the Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabinet, like you put a mic on that and listen to it, it's like, yeah,
It's a fantastic
start
fucking
recording.
setup, isn't
yes,
it? It really
yeah.
is.
It requires no further work really to get it sounding great. Just putting the mic in the cab
Yeah.
in the right place. Mic in the right place is the thing.
And come here, would you get a lot of bands saying, "Oh, I want to sound like old bands or vintage or that kind of shit"?
Oh yeah.
And like, is it up to it's up to you to get that, or is it about performance as well, or?
Well, let's put it this way: it's performance, of course, and the songwriting and the tuning, etc. I've just done the new Psychosis album.
Brilliant. I saw Grant whittling away.
You are unashamedly an 80s thrash revival band.
Yeah.
So for that, we used 1989 Charvel, which I have in the studio, which is obviously period correct and sounds like it. It doesn't sound like a modern ESP or Jackson guitar. It sounds like an 80s metal guitar.
Deadly.
And then into a Mesa Boogie Mark V in this amp's got different modes on it, so it's got a mode for the Mark II, which would have been what Hetfield would have used back in the day. So
yeah, you go. Like
so if you want an 80s sound, you're not going to get it out of a triple rectifier or a PV5150. Yeah. You get it from using a 1980s guitar into a 1980s amp.
And there you go. There's some of the added advantages of coming into Trackmix.
Yeah, big
where you have that selection and the knowledge as well of, especially from lads, because you'd know. Let's just say there you go. You knew exactly what Grant wanted, like, do you know what I mean?
So did he.
Yeah. But there you go. It's a
yeah.
great collaboration, though. Like that, I suppose that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
You know what you're talking about. He knows what he's talking about.
Yes,
It's a great fucking match.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. So I've got a big selection of guitars and basses there, as you can see. So I'd know from talking to the band like what would work well. They can use their own gear, of course. Like some people, I've heard it said that some people, when they come into me, they're thinking, "Oh, can I use my own guitar?" And yeah, of course you can. And
no,
but then they're like, "Oh, I heard that like you make people use it." Like, no, not at all. Like, I have heard that. They're like, "Oh, you wouldn't let me use my own guitar." That's never happened. Unless the guitar is like
shit.
Yeah, or badly intonated. Like you get people coming in, "Oh, I got the guitar set up for the recording," and you check it and like, nah.
It's not.
And then I'll either set it up for them properly or offer an alternative. But what will happen as well is you'll get bands coming, if they come for the first time, they'll put up with a van with all their amps and everything.
Because they think that's what they have.
And then the next time they come, they just show up with a pair of drumsticks.
Yeah.
Because all the, like I say, I've got a good selection of guitars. I've got, as you see, a tower of amps.
Absolutely.
And 12 cabinets.
Nice. It's very nice. I'm just looking at all the stuff.
Yeah,
like, woo.
But all the cabinets come from. I ended up collecting cabinets because I do cabinet modelling, which is called impulse responses, where you send a sweep through an amplifier, and then you get a model of a cabinet, and then if you're recording on a computer, you can load up this model, and it sounds like you're playing through that cabinet.
Oh, cool.
Like, so I have them. I work with American producer Joey Sturgis on that.
Okay.
Who produced Daskin and Alexandria and
right, so yeah.
Devil Wears Prada of it. Pretty big shot
producer.
producer.
Yeah, big enough,
guy.
yeah.
And he runs his own company now. He's retired from producing, but he runs his own company doing software, like plugins.
Yeah.
And he also does the Nail the Mix thing. Have you heard of that? Nail the Mix?
No.
It's good. He'll get like a famous album or a famous song with the original mix engineer.
Yeah.
And they'll sitting down in a studio, open up the session from zero,
cool.
and mix it while being interviewed. I don't know if I could handle that myself now. They'll be asking him questions. What are you doing there? And he's going, "Oh, I'm using this EQ on the kick drum."
Yeah.
So it's really good. Like so,
it's on YouTube, is it?
It's a subscription service.
Right, cool.
But I don't know how much it is.
Nail the Mix.
It's good though.
Yeah.
Anyway, Joey releases my speaker pack, so like every few months you get on to me. "Oh, I need a new pack." I'm like, "Oh no, I have to go find cabs." So obviously, so that's why I have a big stack of cabs there. My initial plan was get the cabs for whatever pack I'm doing, and then sell the cabs on, and recoup some of it. But
of course,
they're all awesome, you know.
You love them.
Yeah,
that's your little collection of babies.
Yeah. So if the Mesa cab doesn't work, or the band says, "Oh, I need more high end," all right, I'll try the Bogner cab, or I'll try one of the Marshalls, or the Zilla Fat Boy, or whatever. So it's.
I love that a cab can make a difference. Like,
the cab is more important than the amp.
I remember years ago we used to use a high watt.
Yes,
and a Freya mix.
Yeah.
And that really got a nice taste.
That was Lara, wasn't it? He brought that in here. It sounded great. Yeah,
it was a nice mix.
Yeah, but it's funny because if you get 5 different heads and try them through the same cab, it'll sound much more similar than one head and try 5 different cabs. The cab makes much more of a difference to the sound and the amplifier.
That's I was I always found that fascinating.
Yeah, yeah.
I really
and it's
did.
funny, even like most people will want to use a Celestion Vintage 30, which is kind of like the metal and rock speaker. There's a certain thing about the mids on it. But if you've got 5 cabs with a Vintage 30 in it, they'll all sound completely different. Even though you're putting the mic on one speaker of the cab, like it's the shape and size of the cab and the resonance and everything, it'll sound like a completely different animal in each cab. It's crazy.
And come here, and when bands come in, do they be like, oh my god, like the amount of choice I have here?
Yeah, well, what do all those buttons do? Oh god. Yeah, every day, yeah. Yeah, it can't, like I say, having so much of a choice can be intimidating, but if a band explains what they're after, I can normally find what they want very quickly. So generally the way... I've also got the Kemper Profiler.
Oh yeah.
Which is, it's kind of the latest technology where you send a signal through the amplifier into the cabinet and mic it up, and it sort of steals the whole sound incredibly well. It's amazing, really. It's like... And it sounds like the devil when you do it. It's like the devil stealing the amp's soul.
Has any of the bands recently been using that? Or
I generally don't use it much. I use it for guide tracks.
Right.
And then I set up a real amp for recording. But the real beauty of the Kemper is I've got all my heads and cabs what's called profiled, which is the sound of them. And it's pretty much identical. You could drop into a track recorded by a real amp and drop into it with the Kemper and not hear where it's from. It's amazing. So what we'll do is, when there's a band recording with me, we'll sit down with the guitarist, and I can go through every combination of head and cab.
Yeah.
And they'll pick the one they like, and then we'll just set up the real thing.
Savage.
It's brilliant. That's great.
That's very handy, isn't it?
It's super handy for that. And also, once the rhythm tracks are down, if you're doing any overdubs, it's good to use a different sound so it doesn't get lost in the mix or lost in the mush, and it will cut through the mix. So I'll use the Kemper a lot for that. So overdubs generally will be done in the Kemper, so we can have the guitarist play and flick through amps on the fly while he's playing and go, that one.
Deadly.
Which obviously you can't do if you set up the amps and the cabs and move the microphones and everything. So it's great that way, great time saver.
Well, I have to say then, I like this is you're getting a really good experience when you're coming in here.
Yeah,
in fairness.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'll try my best.
Well, like, I mean, there you go. Like that bit of talk there about the gear, like I mean, you wouldn't get that nearly everywhere else. Like, I
don't think you would. No,
the pure knowledge, of what you have and what you know and what the people that are coming in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, I mean, if a newish band came into you, and if you, like you said, you just talk to them, you'd know exactly what.
Oh, we can guide them to get the sound that's in their head. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So new bands, don't be afraid to come to Trackmix
do not
at
be
all.
Afraid. And I'm also really good at drum editing for the new bands.
Well, there you go. And there you go. But listen, you've any funny stories from any bands? You don't have to name bands now, but like, any that you can. I know, like, I'm throwing a lot of shit at you, kind of on the fly, but that's the way I roll with this. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh well, the funniest story has to be. Oh God, can I say the guy's name? Everyone will know.
I don't mind if you want.
I can't say his name, but people will definitely be able to work this out without. I'm not going to say his name. I'll tell you later. But booking for the studio, grand. I'm coming on my own. I play everything. Okay, grand. Guy shows up with a single bed mattress.
What the hell?
A single bed mattress, and okay, what's going on here? Is he planning on moving in? But like, what's the mattress for? I play drums on it. Okay, so mattress on the floor, mic on the mattress. Yeah, and sure enough, he got his drumsticks out, played drums on the mattress, and then at this stage it was like, this is not gonna happen. So he put a bit of guitar on it, and then I just bounced it out, gave him a CD, off he went, walking up the road with his mattress over one shoulder and his guitar on the other. I was driving home then, and saw him sitting at the bus stop with his mattress.
What the hell?
Came from the south side somewhere, so bus into town and bus out of town. Yeah, that was
a proud day for him.
That was crazy.
That's mental.
Yeah. If you were to guess who it might be, you would probably get it right. So
I'm saying nothing like.
Yeah, that was mad. That was a long time ago. That now, but no, not really many funny stories. I don't think.
And come here, like, is the, because as I say, like, you get a lot of young bands now. The newer metal bands will say.
Yeah.
What's the vibe like with them? Are they good kids?
Yeah, for sure.
They're not up their own holes too much.
No. I'm doing Mikey O'Riordan, who runs the OD Promotions. He's a great kid. Yeah, great kid. Yeah, he talks a lot, but
but he's lovely. He's a sweetheart.
He's cool. Yeah, he's cool. So he's got 2 bands on the go that we're sort of in the middle of doing.
Is he in Pain and Vain, is he?
Yes.
That's right.
And Infectious, his other band.
That's right, yeah.
So he would be, he'd be like sort of a typical new kind of band metal guy. He's just a complete over the top enthusiastic in a good way, and like I think he started his promotions company to get his own band gigs, like, which is it's great. Like he's got a drive and an energy. It's great.
But yeah, look, guys, he's genuine. He's an honest kid.
Yeah,
like,
he's the real deal. Yeah, I think he's gonna go far. Like he's from promotions anyway. He puts his heart and soul into it. Like he really does. A great guy. But yeah, there's quite a few new bands around. But there's also, it'll happen that like there'll be a new band to me that I haven't recorded. It may be around for a while. Like I'm doing stuff with Asect.
Oh yeah.
And I'm doing their new stuff, and they're great guys. They're amazing musicians and great songwriters. And they've got new singer Tony Carberry.
Shout out to my boy Tony.
Yes, he's a great guy. His vocals are.
He's a fantastic. He's a beast.
Yeah. Well,
and as a front man, he's a fucking beast.
Well, the first time anyone ever done this, you see it happening like in videos of people being interviewed, wherever Tony comes in and gonna track his vocals, and he's got, "Have you got an SM7B? Yeah. Can I hold it?" And then, yeah. So he's in the live room holding the mic, doubled over, screaming into it, and it comes across in the performance for sure. Yeah. So
I think that years ago maybe, because even I like to hold a mic at some point.
Yeah.
You know, like you'd see the pop shield, and you're like, you can't touch it.
Yeah.
You know, that was always I think the impression people got over the years. Like,
no, but then what you find is if you let a singer hold the mic, they fucking cup the mic.
Of course.
Which ruins is like a mic is designed. It's just getting technical again. They've got like little vents that make the mic cardioid, which means it's going to pick up from the front. If you block those vents, the mic becomes what's called omni, which pick up everything. Okay. So you get all this horrible room reflection, and so you get guys cupping the mic basically.
So don't cup the mic.
Don't cup the mic. But then you've got this mic called an SM7B, which is a lot of people use them for vocals now. And the way that's designed, you're holding kind of a handle on it rather than the actual mic. Right. So it works great. It sounds brilliant.
You'll have to show me one of them.
Yeah, well, that's the mic that Hetfield, Tom Araya be using, or anybody really. Any of the screamers or loud singers with the SM7B is great. But the funny story with the SM7B is it was originally a DJ mic.
Oh, really?
So it's like, hello, good morning. Like it's got that DJ voice sound.
Oh, cool.
That depth. And when they were recording Thriller, Michael Jackson, they couldn't get his voice to set, because obviously Michael Jackson is not a weak voice, but
it's a high pitched kind of.
Yeah, you were going to say squeaky then.
Yeah, was.
I heard the squeak coming there. Yeah, no.
I love Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I love Michael Jackson, of course. But so Quincy Jones went around to the local radio station. Well, have you got a DJ mic? And he got this SM7, and of course the vocals on Thriller sound amazing, really full. So the SM7 exaggerates the kind of the low mid frequency, the announcer type frequency. Yeah. So initially designed as a DJ mic, now is one of the top vocal mics. So and also because it's what's called a dynamic mic rather than a condenser, it doesn't pick up the whole room. It's not quite so sensitive. So like you see, like a Hetfield will stand in the control room with the speakers blaring and singing to the mic, and if he closes his eyes, he can pretend he's at a gig, like no headphones. So that's where the SM7B is great for that. Lets the singer do a live gig performance,
which is what I think most bands want. They want that live feel. It's very hard to get that when you're not playing kind of off.
Well, if you get a guy who's used to having monitors blaring at him, screaming at the top of his lungs, to put him in headphones with a microphone and a pop shield and standing with their hands by their side, can be very alien to them. So it's whatever works, whatever gets the performance.
And that's again like making that the artist will say as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, of course,
half the battle, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, take a singer out of the comfort zone, and you won't get the performance back.
Some bands like down that. Some bands like taking their singers out of their comfort zone. Yeah, I hate those kind of people. Yeah. So I'm just looking at some of the bands you've had here. Like, what was Senzor like?
Oh, Senzor are great. Yeah. Like you're talking about the old guys.
Old bastards.
Yeah.
And I know I can say that.
Yeah. Like I was slagging them. I did Cold War stuff as well, you know.
Did you do Whorebread and Hellraised?
No, I did Pantheist Cold War.
Oh yeah, deadly. That was the one I loved. Was the first one.
Yeah, no, that would have been, I don't know, I might have done it in Sonic or something, I don't know where they did it.
Sorry.
But I was slagging the guys, you know, saying, like, you named the band Cold War when Cold War was actually relevant.
Yeah.
Which is probably true.
Very true.
Yeah, so they basically, I think they just got bored with what they were doing, so they kind of reinvented themselves as Senzor.
Very nasty music, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're only tuned to D.
Are they?
Yeah. Which people think like tuned down really low to B or drop A, whatever, and it's heavier. When you hear these guys,
it's how you play, isn't it?
Wall of sound and power.
Nash is a fucking beast, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, he's an absolute...
He's studying classical guitar now, so he's getting.
Do you ever see his little videos?
Yeah.
Little videos, coffee burning or whatever. He's playing away.
But there's one of the songs on the new album, that the Senzor album. It's got this like clean thing at the start. And I'm sure Paul won't make me saying something about fucking 100 takes to get it right. But I'm sure he's got a lot better now. But if you get a metal guy and get him to play a fingerstyle picking thing, most of the time it's going to be like, oh god, it's going to be terrible, you know, because they're just so used to hammering out power cut. No, but Paul did a great job on it in the end. But and no drop-ins on that. I can't remember which side. They're all called C1 and C2 or whatever on that album, so I don't know which one it is. But it took him a while to get it, but it came out great in the end.
He had his silky smooth hands in the end.
Yes.
You wouldn't think you're hearing the rest of the music, like, you know.
And of course you've got Trevor then, who just screams at the top of his lungs. You get some guys in here and they have that, like, I don't know if you heard the Melissa Cross.
I have it, yeah.
Yeah. You get those guys that rah, 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 like they're almost whispering when they're singing. You have to crank up the mic game, whereas Trevor would go in and fucking scream.
He's old school.
The neighbours, I think someone's getting fucking murdered in here, you know. Yeah, so he just screams at the top of his lungs, which is a different style, but it does come across as energy, like it's.
He's a force in nature, isn't he?
He is. Yes.
You know, I mean, he comes across as this scary motherfucker. He's one of those
dudes, lovely guy, yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
You did Old Season.
Old Season, yes.
Yeah, Jesus, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah. They're kind of a classic rock band with a modern twist. They've got to be sort of could I say Bon Jovi meets Opeth? I don't know. Yeah, they've got that kind of great. Yeah. And there's another guy, James Blanchfield, amazing guitar player.
Yeah, he's very good.
He does a lot of classical stuff as well. Really great player. And John Bonham on drums, vocals. It's funny, John Bonham.
It's an upside down band.
Yeah, John Bonham.
He's a fucking fantastic singer.
Yeah, great. Yeah,
Jesus.
He's another guy. He'll power it out and hit the big notes, like not afraid to go for the big notes, and that does come across as energy and
big time.
If we're talking about comfort zone for singers, you need to get out of the comfort zone sometimes.
Sometimes you do.
And just fucking belt it out and aim for the big note.
Absolutely. And you had those cunts from Tipperary down in zhOra.
zhOra, yeah. Well, Alan Hanlon is
of course
Dublin, isn't he? Based now, yeah. They're great guys, great players,
savage musicians.
Drummer, Tom.
It's like you look an octopus or something.
Yes. Yeah, fantastic and great players all around. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did one track with them, and they did their album with Aidan Cunningham.
That's right.
So I'm looking forward to hearing how that goes now. Hopefully not as good as my mix.
Well, Ruthless Bastards, because like that, I was like that song. I can't stop listening to that.
Yeah,
song.
It's great. Yeah.
So well done on that.
And the video, they did a great video for that as well.
They've got great ideas for their videos. A couple of cool little videos, like, you know. I'm just going through a couple of bands here that interest me as well as you. Crocan.
Yeah, jeez, I love Crocan.
Jesus.
I've done three albums, isn't it?
Wow.
3 albums with them, yeah. Yeah, they're great.
They're not divas around, are they?
No, not at all. No, Jesus.
I'm only messing. Keith's the biggest diva I got. I'm only messing.
Yeah, Keith. No, Keith's a great guy. It's Keith's band. There's no doubt about that. Does that make him a diva? I don't know. No,
he's a leader.
A leader. Yeah, he's a visionary. No, but he is though. He'll write all those songs, and like I would feel maybe they're kind of stuck in a certain format, but Keith manages to keep reinventing and bringing new ideas in. And
he really does.
Yeah. Like it's like how many songs can you write in 6/8? Like with a Celtic, but he keeps banging them out.
Doing it. And then they've still got the momentum. Like.
Yeah, well the last couple of albums now it's gone a little bit more black metal, so there's a lot more blast beats and
but they can do it though.
Yes, they can do it. Yeah,
you know, absolutely.
And Mero's a great drummer. And
he's a fantastic drummer.
And he's a massive guy. Jesus Christ, he does extras in Vikings and stuff.
That's
like
right,
that. Yeah, and you can't miss him. He's like about 2 feet tall. And he's a big
that helps.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, big guy. So the Crocan, they're great. Yeah, three albums I think.
Wow.
And their album sessions are gigantic. I
can only imagine.
layers of tracks.
Would they block book a few weeks with you, or someone like of that kind of magnitude?
Well, it can also be good to get a break from it. So, like going like 4 weeks every day is not a good idea. You get massive burnout. So, I think kind of 4 days in a shift is the way to go. You can concentrate on getting the 4 days done, and then take a break for a few days and listen back to what you've done. Or maybe even better, just take a break from it completely.
Yeah.
And then come in and work on the next bit, or maybe redo bits you weren't happy with. And where if you do it all in one block, it all becomes a blur, and then you can go away at the end of that block and a week later going, oh, I don't like that bit, don't like that bit, don't like that bit. So it's better to split it a little bit and then take stock of each session, and then maybe do any changes, or even just come back fresh. Difference.
I think we've covered a kind of a nice wide range of Irish metal with those couple of bands.
Well, don't forget Dead Label.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I do all Dead Label stuff, and
they're doing fantastic, aren't they?
They're great, though. They're great.
They're lovely. They did my first episode of this season.
Yeah,
they came to the house.
I should listen to your stuff, Carl. I'm always too busy. I have a 10-year-old daughter.
You're up to your eyes. You understand? Oh, you understand
I have
that?
a 10-year-old daughter, and I go home, and that's her time, and then
that's the way to do it.
She goes to bed, and then normally I go to bed.
As I think again, I can get that, so don't be worrying about that.
Yeah, but Dead Label, I do lots of stuff with them. They have a new video coming out Saturday.
Saturday, that's right. We at that? We at the video?
No, I couldn't go. Claire asked me to come over.
I was gonna go as well, but like that.
If anything that's on a weekend, you can basically count me out.
Family.
Not weekends, work.
Oh, work.
Oh,
shit.
Yeah. I haven't had a weekend off in years.
Oh,
years. I was in Florida there a few weeks, so I had a couple of weeks off.
So you can't complain.
No, I can't complain. But that's the thing about Ireland. If I was in London or LA or something, you'd have a lot more full-time bands or full-time musicians.
Yeah.
Whereas in Ireland, you have to have a job, don't you?
That's it.
You're not going to pay $2,000 a month rent or mortgage. Fucking playing
music,
playing in fiddlers on a Saturday night. So
true though.
Yeah, completely.
Do you know what I'm gonna? Like I said, I did say to you, we could talk and talk and talk.
Oh well, I can talk. Anyone.
We can talk and talk and talk. Like that's the thing. We might have to do maybe a second part.
Part two.
In a while. I don't know if you'd ever be up for it. But I'm gonna wrap it up now because as I say, this has been fantastic. It's been great to get in. And just to give people an idea of what goes on with you, and maybe if they haven't been here before, I definitely would recommend they come here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks very much.
Absolutely, because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic. So I'm gonna just ask you one thing before we go, right?
Okay.
So, if you had the chance to remix 3 metal albums that you love, if you were given the raw files, mix them the way you think they should be mixed. What would they be?
Well, maybe not. But that's kind of I would ask that question a different way. Like there might be an album that sounds great, but I'd love to mix it myself.
Right.
Which is a different question, is it? Well, you're saying are there 3 albums?
Give me 3 metal albums that you think could have been mixed better. How about that? Big ones that you like.
Well, obviously there's Justice for All. You put bass in it. That's the main one, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where else would there be? I don't know. It's very hard to say.
Like, was there an album that you would have said, oh man, that's a fucking great album? The production, like for an example for me, would be Divine Intervention by Slayer.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic album, but the production is shocking.
Yeah, but would it be a different album with different production? That's the thing. That's why it's a very hard question to answer, because like, if you listen to like Obscene by Meshuggah, which has got Blade on it and stuff, and it's like the guitar sound is crap, like, isn't it? Like no one will tell you that's an amazing guitar sound. But if you change the guitar sound, would the drum sound as good? Or it's maybe it was a hard question to ask you, but I don't like. No.
I would like. Was there ever like if you listen to like even I don't know, for example, let's say like Holy Diver, say, were you ever listening and going, jeez, I would have loved to do something like with that.
Oh yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah, but like I'm doing this. How long have I done this? 25 years.
Yeah,
maybe even longer. Like I'll find myself listening to an album and then I'll drift off and then realise I'm just listening to the snare drum.
Yeah.
Like I've got this thing where I can just mute everything else, and like, which is a weird feeling, like, cause I wouldn't do it consciously.
Yeah.
So like I might be listening to like, say Iron Maiden, and I'm listening to the vocal reverb. I'm going, oh my god, and like which it kind of ruins like if somebody listens to a new album and like, oh, this is great, I'm enjoying this album, I can't do that anymore. If I listen to something, like, I have to analyse it, even if not by choice. Like I say there, I'll be listening and then I'll drift into the zone in on something. I'm thinking there's too much 250 hertz in the guitar. The snare needs to be loud. I find it very hard to listen to something.
Where I can understand where you're coming from. Doing that though, on what you do, like. So.
Yeah. So it like people say, becoming a sound engineer ruins your appreciation of music, and it does a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
probably, because it's kind of, what is it, would be 60% work and 40% fun then at that stage.
So like there might be a new album comes out and everyone goes, oh, that's shit. And we go, no, it's not shit, it's awesome because I love the mix.
I know another one that we could switch.
Yes.
Saint Anger.
Oh, well, obviously.
The fucking snare on that.
Yeah. But the mastering engineer got an awful lot of shit for that, but apparently he got the files already like that, you know?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he got it all clipped already.
Oh, God.
So you can blame it. Is it Rick Rubin? I think it's Rick Rubin.
I think it was. Yeah, he was actually.
Yeah. He also ruined Californication.
That's right.
A few others.
Actually, he was on autopilot for years. At that stage.
So he was producing 2 albums at one time at one point, and
what's the point
was it? He did the Colts, I think it's Sonic Temple and Rain Blood at the same time in 2 different studios in the same complex.
That's just sounds wrong, like, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but 2 great albums.
Absolutely.
I can't fault either of them.
So listen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you so much for inviting me in.
You probably missed half your questions with just chatting too much.
But that's the way it works, and that's the way I love it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to come in, they can contact you on Facebook.
I've done websites and everything, and it's just I found with websites or advertising, I'll get like karaoke people or rappers. No, it's nothing bad against rappers, but
I know
it's
what
not
you
my bag, you know. So you get singer-songwriters or karaoke. So I don't do any of that anymore. It's all I'm found by people who I want to be found by, basically.
So, like I said, it's all on Facebook.
Yeah, it's all on Facebook. Michael Richards Trackmix recording studio.
This is going to sound really cheesy, but I think I can speak for nearly every metal musician in Ireland and saying thanks for everything. No, but it's true though. And you laugh, but like, you have such a big influence on.
Well, that's great to hear.
And that's why this was a big podcast we did today.
Excellent.
So
thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
From everybody.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm sure they'll agree with me on that. You know.
Come for the music, stay for the coffee.
There you go. Listen, it's been great to do this.
Okay, thanks.
And thanks again, Roy. Take care. So there you have it. That was Mick from Trackmix Studios. Very, very interesting chat I had with him. Took me an age to get back over from Blanche, but hey, it was well worth it, I must say. Just before I go as well, I want to say there's something really good happening with Irish metal right now, and the local bands are killing it as always. But something really big happened yesterday in Limerick, in in King John's Castle in Limerick, and that was Dublin Metal Events and Bad Reputation joined together, and they brought over Amon Amarth and Behemoth, and it was apparently amazing. I didn't get to go, but gigs like that need to happen more often. So whoever was there, props to you for going, for keeping, Irish metal, and Irish metal crowds are fantastic. And the more that these bands see this kind of thing, and that there's more to life than just Dublin and Belfast. So respect and props to everybody who did that, and let's hope that this is the start of something really, really good for Irish metal fans, Irish metal bands, and the promoters. Fair play to you. That's all I have to say. I'm going to leave you with another Trackmix recorded song, and this is This Place Hell. Until next time, I love you. Bye.